Whoa, I beat it again. Oh, I was just too excited. Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of the Laser Livestream. My name's Gil. We're going to spend the next hour or so talking about something that I'm very passionate about. It's all about lasers and laser work. How's everyone doing? You know what? I got to be honest with you. I feel like the last one was just like yesterday. It's crazy to think that 2 weeks blew around like that. It did, at least for me, because you know what? These last 2 weeks have been cram packed with a whole bunch of really interesting stuff to do with lasers and making and maker spaces and all the rest of it. I will tell you about that at another time, I'm sure. But welcome to this. This is the 42nd edition. We're getting close to 50. We'll have to do something really special about the 50th episode of the laser live stream. I don't know. Maybe we should build a laser from scratch. Maybe we'll do something. I have no idea. But before we go forward, I want to acknowledge all the people who are here on time and dead on 6 o'clock Melbourne time, Melbourne, Australia, and that's where we do this live stream every 2 weeks. And it's kind of cool. I see some very familiar faces in the chat room, and it's awesome to see. They're all right there, right there. And I love to acknowledge everyone who comes in here. That's the difference between the videos and the tutorials that I make and the live streams. The live streams are all about community. We'll talk about that in a very short period of time. But it's awesome to see everyone who's here. And I want to acknowledge, first of all, John, who's here. And he says, hi, all. I am here on time this week. John, it is great to see you. Thank you so much for making it here. I'm not too sure exactly where you're located. I've got a feeling it's in the US. I'm not too sure. And if that's the case, it's late at night, but it's great to see you. And my good friend Peter coming all the way in from the Netherlands, and he was in here early waiting. I know it's first thing in the morning, so it's a great way for Peter to start his day, and it's a great way to connect. So it's great to see you too, Peter. It is awesome to see you. And who else do we have here? We have Audrey, who's coming in as well and saying hello. It's good to see Audrey here as I see her almost every live stream. Wow. You know what? It's kind of cool. And talking about every other live stream, here's our good laserologist, a founding member of our community, Adrian, who does some amazing work when it comes to laser etching images onto different materials. And we also have Mike, and it's the whole gang watching this time. It's Mike, Jen, and Little Ellie. Our first laserologist junior, I think so. I've got a feeling that when Ellie gets to be able to work, oh, it's actually Ella. I should have. No, it's Ellie. What do I think is Ella? It doesn't matter. It is Ellie. See, it's right there. But I've got a feeling that when Ellie gets a chance to get in front of the computer and design her own things, she's going to push Daddy away. But that's awesome to be able to see. We also have Paul all the way from South Africa, the other side of the world from me. I hope you're doing well, Paul. I hope everything's good. It's great to see you. We also have Stuart, another founding member to our laser live stream community, who's another Australian. It's good to see you, Stuart. I hope you had a great day. And lo and behold, look at this stranger coming in here, the one, the only, the CEO of Darkly Labs, Dominic, coming in to saying hello to all the fellow laserologists, which is awesome. Who else we got? We got Scott, Commander Koenig himself, coming all the way from Japan. He's saying that he's hot and hungry, and he's sitting next to my grill, smoking some chicken. That's the best way to do it. Get a meal. I'm glad you're not smoking that chicken in your laser. Something we've discussed in the past. I know that right now there's a lot of kind of social media of different things going into lasers, especially diode lasers. But you know what? It's awesome that you're there, and you're also incorporating us in your everyday dinner meal. Maybe that's the case. And Scott's also making fun that he's actually remembered. But you're more than welcome here anytime you want, Commander. And I understand that life can sometimes get in the way, but that's all right. Mike sharing that it's Eliana. Eliana, did I get that right? You guys will correct me if I'm not. And it's Ellie for short. That's awesome. And Atomic Jared again. I gotta be honest with you. It's so cool and it's so nice to see the return of people coming in and hanging out with the community. So one person at a time, we're building this community up, and it is just awesome to be able to see. It's guys, did I tell you it's a highlight of my week when I come and hang out with all of you? It is absolutely awesome. Dominic's wondering if Scott's doing this on a hibachi, knowing that he's in Japan, and Peter's asking for a wing. So wow, I know it's first thing in the morning. Wings in the morning? A man after my own heart. And Stuart also sharing that he can almost smell the chicken from where he is. Maybe we should do it. Maybe we should do a virtual meal one day on here. That could be interesting. We can definitely see what's going on there. And Paul, is it Paul? I know I call you Zooland, but it is Paul. There you go. He's also asking, I hope some people got some use from the fonts he shared on Facebook. Yes, there's a post in the Facebook group about a font giveaway. I actually went and grabbed it myself. And there is a sign up and a few other things you need to do. But we really appreciate you sharing that with us, Paul, because everyone's always looking for new fonts that I believe it had a commercial license. I couldn't find where that was, but that's okay. We appreciate you sharing that sort of stuff. Peter saying it's never too early for chicken. Absolutely not. And John also letting us know that he's all the way from Sydney, which is good to see you. It must be cold up there too. And Scott also sharing that it's a Weber charcoal grill used for mainly cherry wood today. I can understand if you're in Japan, that's why you'd be using cherry wood. But that's awesome, guys. Thank you so much for being here. We have got a jam-packed, and I mean jam-packed show. So we're not gonna keep going on. We're gonna jump straight in. Whew. But first of all, let me thank the people who are behind me who make this live stream happen. And that happens to be both Darkly Labs, home of the Emblazer range of laser cutters. If you're looking for a dyed laser that you can use in a classroom, in a teaching environment, in an office, go check them out. Their website is www.darklylabs.com. And we also want to thank Lightburn Software, the software that runs on the Emblazer and a number of other lasers. If you haven't checked them out before, go check them out at www.lightburnsoftware.com. Don't put in Lightburn. I don't know if a few people have done that or not, but it's an interesting thing where Lightburn goes to. But Lightburn software is what you want to do. So it is pretty awesome to thank them for allowing all of this to happen. The live streams here are all about building a community. The live stream is one part of it. We also have other areas such as Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. But I like starting these live streams, just putting the intention out there of what we're actually creating. There's a lot of content out there about lasers, a lot of it geared up to teaching people tricks and methodology and all the rest of it. That's awesome. I say learn from everyone. But here we're also trying to create something a little different, which is a community. And our very first intention is to create a creative, interactive laser community open to everyone who is exploring laser technology. Our second intention is to support laser users, regardless of what laser you're using, whether it's a diode, a CO2, a fiber. If I joke about it, but whatever laser technology you're using, absolutely, we want to hear about your journey and how you're using it. Our third intention is just basically share knowledge. Not everyone knows everything, but you know what? When we share different techniques, different knowledge, we are stronger together than we are apart. Part of that is to share what you know. Part of it is to be open to learning what other people are sharing. That is the real key to community. And of course, we want everyone to learn together from absolutely everyone. It is awesome to see some of the projects that we're going to discuss in a little bit. What is so great about that is the ability to be able to share all these different workflows. So that is what we've been creating here for the last couple of years at the Laser Livestream. If you're watching for the very first time, please go into this amazing chat room and introduce yourself. Because if you're watching this, whether you're watching it live or if you're watching it on a replay, you're a laserologist. You're part one of us, and we want to get to know not only who you are, but we also want to hear about your journey and some of the great projects that you have created. So with that in mind, how do you do that? You're asking me right now, hey Gil, what's going on? I hear about all of this. How do I get involved? Great question. There's a number of ways. First of all, I'm going to invite everyone who's new here to just go and hit that subscribe button, because that helps this project, it helps the community, and it helps YouTube and their algorithms and that, whatever, I guess it's the internet overlord that makes those decisions, to be able to let people know that the live streams and the videos have some content with relevance. That helps. And as well, chat. The difference between this live stream and videos is that you can chat with me live, and you can chat with other people live. So by all means, if you see something you like or you got a question, feel free to be able to go out there and let us know what is going on. Of course, if you're watching this after the live event and you want to share some of your projects, feel free to email me at laser.livestream@gmail.com. We also have an active Facebook group, which you can find at www.facebook.com/group/laserlivestream. You will be able to post up your projects and get in touch with not just myself, but everyone who is interactive during these live streams. It's a great way to get involved. We also have Instagram and Twitter at Laser Livestream, which will keep you up to date with different videos, different work, all that sort of stuff. It is awesome stuff. We also have an opportunity here. If you have garnered some knowledge or just appreciative of what's going on here, you can, if you're live, go into the chat room. That chat room for me is just up there. And there's a thing called a super chat. You can basically show your appreciation by putting a donation. Part of it goes to YouTube, part of it goes to me. All those sort of donations go straight back into the Laser Livestream project, whether it's getting materials for tutorials or equipment so that we can keep going this way. Or if you want to send me a note with that along and you don't want to do it publicly, there is a link down below in the description, which is a one-time PayPal link. No pressure, absolutely none. But if you feel inclined, that's a great way to be able to help and support the project. Great. Cool. So if you want, you can use any of those avenues to get active with the Laser Livestream community and the stream itself. Guys, what are we doing here? What's going on with the show today? Let's go check it out. So today on the show, we've got the laserologist. I didn't even say it. What? Who came up with this term, laserologist? Because all I know is sometimes it's a tongue twister. First of all, on the show, we've got the Laserologist Showcase. Hey, I got it out right. After that, we're going to meet an amazing laserologist called Joe Spagna. I'm going to talk about him in a little bit. He's an incredible guy with an incredible history when it comes to lasers and possibly some very cool software you might be using. And then we're going to end the show with the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to laser material. So that's what we're going to do today. I think I've never done the opening so quickly. You let me know if you like that or not, because we'll see what's going on. But what am I saying? Let's just jump into the Laserologist Showcase and take a look at some of the work that's been shared with us in the last 2 weeks. Our very first example of laser tiles, but using a alternate version of layering paint down, comes from Al. I believe Al has just joined our community. He was sharing some of these pieces, and you can see what I love about this sort of stuff, especially when it comes down to the different paint and the way it interacts when the laser is removing different layers of material, is the fact that, you know what? Those pieces look almost like it's a printed photo in some of the old printing styles, like the old plate styles, where they used to engrave a plate and then roll ink over it to get the result. That looks pretty amazing, as Audrey says right here. It is very, very cool. And some great colors coming in there. Al, great job. I believe, I thought Al had a second one, but I was wrong. The next piece is actually from Christina, and Christina's using a diode laser. I believe this is in Blazor 2. The first piece that we're showing on the left-hand side is a game board holder for, I believe it's Settlers of Catan. And the idea is that everyone can organize all their pieces, including the card there. Very, very creative. I know that there's a few people in the chat room who like to use their lasers to help augment their gaming. This is a great example. But Christina also showed us a keychain she made for someone using black acrylic. I know there's a lot of conversation about using diode lasers with acrylic, and she shared the result that she was able to create. I think the scope of this piece was that someone wanted a keychain that was water resistant. So exactly what she was able to create there. Some very, very interesting textures. And you can also see in there kind of how the laser came to create kind of that texture when it's actually engraving into the black material. It is very cool, and I really like that result. I actually happen to have some black acrylic. I'm going to see if I can explore that, and maybe I'll share some of that on a tutorial. Let me know in the chat room if that's something you would like me to do, and we can explore that together. Great job, Christina. Please share some more of your work. Daryl, our very own Daryl Cheeks, who usually comes in on the streams, but I think he's busy today, but it's great to see him here. Daryl's been exploring diode lasers, and I like this Spider-Man image. I believe there's a number of different ways that he was able to create this. I was actually hoping he was here, because I had some questions. But Daryl, it's great to see your journey. I believe that part of this is actually layered. I think it's layered. I'm only going by the image. It could be, as Stuart's sharing here, relief work, but it is awesome to be able to see what is going on. It really has a three-dimensional look. As I said, I was hoping Daryl would be here, but maybe he'll hear the questions on the replay. If so, please let us know in the comments below whether this is a flat image that has been kind of manipulated to create a 3D look, but it looks awesome. I actually thought that there were layers there. Now that everyone's saying it's a relief, it is well done. Great job, Daryl. It's great to see where you began your journey and what you're being able to create now. Awesome work. Dean. Dean's been around for a little bit, and I believe this is an image that maybe the Den of Lasers have been using to try and refine their technique. But again, if you look at the detail in this tile that's been around for a little while, it is awesome to look at. It is so cool to be able to see all that detail and how that has actually kind of been, created. It's a fantastic image. There's certain images that really lend themselves to the laser engraving methodology, and this is one of them. I would love to know from Dean, though, if this is a white tile method or whether or not this is a painted method with having it removed. I'm assuming it's a white tile method, but it is some amazing detail and amazing work. So well done, Dean. Keep sharing those projects because they are spectacular. Then we've got Jeff. Jeff is a brand new laserologist to our community. I'm assuming from what he's actually creating, he's in New Zealand. And you can see some of the pieces that he's made here with natural wood. And again, this is amazing to be able to see the quality of work that he's being able to create on his laser. Some really, really nice etching. And again, you can see it really is augmented really nicely with the wood and the grain of the material that's being used. So these are awesome pieces. Absolutely awesome. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Jeff creates further along in his laser journey. I really, really hope that he continues to share that with us. The one and the only Mick Towers, who has been making some amazing three-dimensional engravings using both, I guess it's kind of scanning the image onto the material, using the engrave and the image modes of Lightburn and laser, and then actually cutting them out and layering them in different depths, I guess. So it's usually around 7 layers, and you can see here some, again, spectacular work. Normally I try to show the videos when he turns them, but if this was just a flat image, it is phenomenal when you actually turn it on the side. And unfortunately I wasn't able to get those videos this time, but they are absolutely amazing to be able to see. In fact, I know that someone just earlier today asked Mick if they could copy some of their work. Whoa, what happened there? That's not what it was supposed to happen. Whoa, 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 whoa. Excuse me, guys. That was, what happened there? Maybe, wow, we're back. Maybe that was the Egyptian god getting all upset that we were showing that image. I have no idea. I'm waiting for everyone to be like, the image is gone. No, we're back. Okay. So, but Mick does some amazing work. I'm going to try and reach out. If Mick's watching, I'd love to have you on the live stream and talking about some of the methodology you're using. I've got a sneaking suspicion I know how your workflow goes, but I would love to be able to explore that with you. As always, Mick, amazing work. And Jura also has been sharing a lot of his laser images with us on the live stream community, and you can see here 2 of his latest images. The one on the left actually uses, I think, a cream color behind the actual image, and you can see there it gives a lot of depth when it comes to seeing those images, as opposed to the artwork on the right hand side. Both of them incredibly legitimate and amazing work. And Jura, you can see your technique developing every post that you've been making. So again, keep it up. It's amazing to see, when I think, wow, you know what? People have pushed the envelope when it comes to images and engraving images on materials such as tiles. Then guess what happens? It gets blown out, and I see some even more spectacular work. So fantastic, Jura. And then we have Elaine. Elaine happens to be a longtime member of our community. Unfortunately, she's unable to interact in real time, but she sends me some of her amazing projects. And this is the latest one. This happened to be her next leveling up on what she's creating. As you can see here, the redhead matchbox is there for scale. And let me just share with you here. This is what she created. The Dr. Payne dentist freestanding, I believe it's a statue. It is pretty amazing to see. Elaine always gives us such joy in seeing her creativity and what she's able to do with her Emblazor 2. It is awesome. And she was actually able to send this little video. So let's see. Yep, it's working. It's awesome. So there's Elaine, and what I love is the way she packages her gifts up as well. It's just phenomenal. So there you go. It is incredibly creative, and you can see all the layer work, and then you can also see the box that's placed in it. I believe that was going to her dentist. So I'm assuming that the dentist has done some great work with Elaine. You wouldn't want to create something like that for someone, who caused you a problem. But Elaine, as always, just such creativity and such amazing work. It is so cool. I can see everyone here going, amazing work, Elaine. Let's see, Elaine, you are amazing. Just wow. You know what? It really is. There's Stuart sharing it, and so is Peter. And looking at the chat room, I also want to thank Rhonda for coming in. Hey, Rhonda. Hey, everyone. And I think, who else came in? Is it Mike? Yeah. Malcolm came in. Never too late to come and be a part of the community and the stream. It is great to see you, Mike. It is awesome. So you know what? Already saying what a nice gift. When it comes to gifts, Elaine is pretty amazing. You guys might see that thing right there, which was gifted to me by Elaine during Christmas last year, which is, I'm sure I've showed this before, but for those of you who haven't seen it before, this happens to be a matchbox, a larger matchbox, and with yours truly on it. So it is really amazing. One of the gifts that I actually absolutely treasure, because it is always there in the background. So Elaine, I hope you're doing well. I can't wait to see what you create next. Awesome. I'm saying awesome because look at this, speeding through. Cool. Let's move on to introduce you another amazing laserologist, and this guy is pretty amazing himself. His name happens to be Joe Spania, and what a lot of people don't realize is he's also Lightburn employee number 3, and he has an incredible history when it comes to lasers, Lightburn, making in general. So we had an incredibly cool discussion that was a little, I don't want to say a little long. It wasn't a little long. It went really, really quickly. But we've edited a part of that down to really focus on the laser work. And after I play the interview, because of the time difference, we did this a little bit earlier this week, I'm actually going to share with you where you can find the whole interview if you're interested. So without any further ado, let me introduce you to Joe Spania. Joe, how are you? It's so good to have you here on the Laser Livestream.
I am excellent. Yeah, I'm super happy to be here.
Thank you. I mean, look, you know what? It's kind of fun to connect with people, especially people that you see on social media. You've had quite a footprint in the maker world, especially on YouTube, with your involvement with Makers on Tap and then your own work, as well as your ongoing work in the laser field. So there's a lot of things we're going to cover here, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, whatever. I never get to sit on this side of the screen, so like I'm game for everything.
Obviously, you built your own lasers, you've got a number of lasers, you're tinkering around, and somewhere along the line you get tapped on the shoulder by a little company that's growing very, very quickly, that has an amazing user base of creative people out there, and you are now working with Lightburn.
Yeah. So I've been with Lightburn for I'm gonna say I've been with Lightburn since the beginning, but for a year. So I've been a beta tester for Lightburn for literally since the beginning.
Sure.
And over the years, I have made tutorials for companies on Lightburn. I've made many of the video tutorials for that are like officially Darkly Labs videos. I made a lot of those, and then I had made some video tutorials for Lightburn proper over the years.
Awesome.
And this last year, though, I came on as a software developer slash content creator. Yeah.
So all the new videos that are coming out from Lightburn, you've had a handle in creating and basically engaging the audience on some of the new features with Lightburn?
Yeah. So all of the quick tip videos that are like YouTube shorts and that have come out on the social media stuff, most of those are mine. And then the like full length videos, many of those are from one of our other creators named Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are also from me. So if you hear my voice, I worked on it. And if you hear somebody else's voice, that's Daniel. And he is an amazing content creator. He also has his own YouTube channel. It's Modbot Army. And he does lots of 3D printer reviews and laser cutter reviews and stuff. And working with him has been absolutely fantastic because
Awesome.
he is a much better video creator than me. I'm very like technically skilled in like how the software works, and I can teach well, but like he can just like he has a vision for how the videos will look and things. Like he's a video creator.
Awesome,
so
man.
working with him has been really, really fun over the last few months. Just like learning more about like framing and like where to put B-roll and like just like the storytelling part of trying to make instructional videos. Like I'm really good at like here's this, yeah, you need to make a rectangle, here's how a rectangle tool works, and like here's a couple ways you could use it, and like he can turn it into a really engaging story. And it's been really fun. So
No, that's awesome. I mean, one of the things that I love especially the last couple of years is the amount of people who have been adopting Lightburn and sharing their journey and sharing their techniques and sharing how to be able to utilize this software as much as you. I mean, it's really up to your imagination about how you want to apply the tools that Lightburn gives you, and it's just been really fun. I was really lucky a few months ago to introduce Lightburn to a primary school, and then see the kids, literally children under the age of 10, start laying out work in Lightburn in this, sometimes in ways that I would have gone, in a more formal atmosphere. You go, that's wrong. But then when you actually get to the end of it, you go, no, that's right. That's just a completely different intuitive way of being able to get to the same result. And I learn from them all the time.
That's awesome. I love watching people that have no idea what they're doing and like don't know that it's wrong figure out ways to get to places, because they'll get to places with solutions that you're just like, I would have never thought of that. That's better.
Right. I mean, it's an amazing, because it is so intuitive. And you were talking about Adobe before, and I'm a big Photoshop guy, but I hate Illustrator. I could never wrap my head around Illustrator. Every time I've used Illustrator, I've used it more as a pixel pusher or pixel editor than I ever have as a vector software. And recently I had some people come up to me and they're like, we've got this artwork that someone had laid out in Illustrator, and they were like, can you help us fix this? And I'm at Illustrator and I'm like, I don't know the commands. I'm like, I'm not familiar with it. So it's like, just leave it with me. And I literally went into Lightburn, because Lightburn will take a native Illustrator file, and went,
Yeah.
done, and gave it back to them. They're like, okay, show me how to do it. I said, I didn't do it with your software. And then the minute they saw Lightburn, they were like, how much is that? And I'm like, told them, they're like, okay, we want to get copies. And I'm like, great, but you happen to have an Epilogue machine. And at this point, Epilogue doesn't interface directly. We've got to kind of do a few other things.
Yeah.
And that kind of was a bit of a shame, but hopefully in the future, I look forward to a universal laser world where every software can be used with every machine. Whether you want to use Lightburn or something else, that'd be kind of awesome to be able to go and do that. But it's just,
So do we.
yeah, I'll be the first one to be like, great. I know that speaking to Jason last year, the idea of being able to take Lightburn and take it to a vinyl cutter just kind of blew my mind, because I happen to have a vinyl cutter that I fixed up, works fine. The software happens to be really kind of the minimum amount to get the machine to work, which means that when you use it, I've got to learn how the software is going to then send that to the machine. I would love to be able to go and just into Lightburn and go, done, send it off and get it done. And I know there's a lot of people out there who would also love to see kind of a universal version of Lightburn, whether it's a vinyl cutter or a CNC. Even, who knows, 3D printing might be down the track. I have no idea. I see a future of MakerBot, Ultimaker, and Lightburn in the middle. No, that's right. It's like with the announcements of yes. Well, maybe Joe's freaking out on that one. If it happens, you heard it here first. But it is you never know what's going to happen. And I remember the very first time I saw Lightburn, and after coming from the Cambam days and also learning about lasers and retrofitting these kind of homemade laser machines, and kind of going, that's what I've been looking for. And back in the early days where it was just like I could just put the design in there and just really basically put some text around or just change a couple of points, and I was just like, wow. And I love the fact that it's always iterating new versions of itself with new features. And you guys are kind of like, you're on the battlefield. I'm sure that it's got to be crazy time every day when you're getting requests and this doesn't work. And I see all these posts coming up, especially after a new version comes out, and it's like, this doesn't work anymore. And it's like, okay, try this, and it works.
Yeah. It's I think people think we don't test it. And we do
So
every
many
day.
machines
I am
though.
the person who tests much of the things. For a very long time, my title was literally breaker of software. Before I was like full time, I did my best to break everything possible and go about things the stupidest way I could to try to figure out all of the ways that our users would break the software so that we could try to make it as intuitive as possible. And that's been a big part of what I've done this year, is work to make things more discoverable. So if you've noticed in the last few versions, we've added a lot of weird wizards, like the print and cut wizard,
Sure.
and like everything's got tooltips. That's all been me, because my whole deal is helping people make things easier and make things better, like democratize manufacturing. So when I came on, like I told Jason, my goal is to make Lightburn easier to use, more discoverable. When you walk up to it, you can just like know. It's there's a lot to do still. There's one of the other developers and I were joking the other day that we've been working with the software for literally years now, and we don't know how to use it because there's just so much.
I agree.
Like Photoshop, there isn't I don't think there's a person in the world that knows every function of Photoshop and how to utilize it. There's one person that knows every function of Lightburn and how to utilize it, but it's not me.
Yeah.
I learn things literally every day.
Sure.
And it's my job to know as much as I can. So we've built so much functionality into this tool, and we're adding so much more. And I think my favorite part of it all, though, is like I literally just work on what I want. Our method of prioritization, we always joke, is the shiny method. So whatever's shiny this week is what we're working on, and that's resulted in some pretty
That's awesome.
fun additions to the software.
That's very cool.
Like the Center Finder wizard recently, that was like just a fun project that I wanted to work on because I do a lot of things like coasters and things with round stock, and I was like, this would be a cool thing to have. And I've got a whole list of things that I want to work on that are in like the similar vein of that. So but yeah, right now Galvo is the shiny thing, so we're all working on Galvo tools, and there's so much that we've held back just because we needed to get a functional version out.
Sure.
To make our timeline. So yeah, the next few months are going to be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
So.
And I think that, there's a lot of talk about, when prices went up, and if you've ever used an Adobe Suite or you've used professional CNC software, I mean, it's $20 here is, some people got so upset about the idea that, but you can see right now that a year ago, or let's say 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, if Jason wanted to start, noodling around with Galvo, well, he wouldn't have been able to push it and release it so quickly. So that's where, subscriptions go, supporting the software goes. I think it's so important because just in this short period of time, you can see that the company that started off with Jason, and then another person, and then, another coder, and now a whole bunch of people, which is awesome to be able to do it. The return is all the functionality that you're seeing now, plus, and we don't know what the next kind of iteration of laser technology is going to be, but I'm pretty confident that when it gets into the hands of hobbyists and makers and even small businesses, that's going to be a focus of what Lightburn's going to concentrate on.
Yeah. So I was employee number, if we don't count Jason, I was full-time employee number 3.
There you go.
And that was a year ago. And now we are at 23 employees, not all full-time, but 23 people worldwide. We've got people on every continent now. And
there's a penguin with a laser in Antarctica right now that is trying out.
Okay. not every continent, I guess. All right. Fair.
When Lightburn has a employee on the moon, I'll give you Antarctica for free.
Well, I mean, apparently, from all the conspiracy theorists I hear, like Australia is actually just the guards of the ice wall for the flat Earth. So like that's kind of, and we've got somebody in Australia and somebody in New Zealand. So like, kind of, if you guys are really guarding the ice wall, are you? People want to know.
Mate,
people want to know, Gil.
Before COVID hit, I went and did some work at NASA with some students and stuff, and I got to be involved in one of their bouncing off a laser off the moon to measure how far away it was, and I was like,
so cool.
I know, it was again, you know what? It actually was due to the maker community, because we happened to be walking in a place, and someone was there who happened to go, "I watch you on YouTube." And I was like, "You do? I'm sorry, I don't know who you are." And then he was like, "Do you guys want to come back and we're going to do something? You guys can stand in the back and all the rest of it." And he was kind enough to go, do you want to hit the button that's going to fire the laser?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like, this is like the ultimate like for someone who does laser stuff. And I was like, all right, well, I've just proven
That's
what I
amazing.
knew, but now I'm like, the world ain't flat as far as I'm concerned. But I'm a guy. I'm a science guy. What can I say? But yeah, that was. I should have asked them if they were using Lightburn. Wouldn't it be cool if they were lining
Ah,
everything up with Lightburn? That would have been awesome. Uh,
yeah.
but I was involved in the math part of it. I just pressed the button. But it was an
That's the most
amazing
important job.
experience.
Without the button pusher, it would have
Yeah,
never happened.
yeah. I got the big
So
money, um, but I did get a thrill to know that something I was involved in something that had to do with the moon. So it's a lot of fun. Joe, I want to thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us. I would love to open an invitation for you to come back, and there's a lot of things that I would love to kind of grill you on, not put you in the hot seat, but this was more an introduction of the
yeah.
work that you do, your background, as well as what you do in for Lightburn and for all of us. First of all, on behalf of everyone, let me just say thank you for all the tweaks that you've been putting in, all those different, whether it's holding your cursor above a tool and understanding what that tool is, or now I forgot what they call the center finder and
Oh, the wizards.
the wizards. That's the word I was going to use. I was going to use something else, but even from the Boolean functions, the wizard there, instead of guessing and trying to
That wasn't
understand.
me.
Okay,
That was Jason.
okay.
That
Well, we're not gonna thank Jason. That's not what. I mean, who's he? I mean.
yeah.
We
Without
wouldn't-
him, nothing would happen.
Yes, absolutely. No, well, I mean, Jason's pretty amazing in his own right, and we've definitely sung his praises. But it's great to know a little bit about the people behind what's going on in Lightburn, and it's just awesome. So, Joe, we were talking a little bit before about the fact that there have been some changes in the latest version of Lightburn. These changes were made to assist Galvo laser operators, but it also will help a lot of diode and CO2 laser operators. And I know there's a lot of people out there going, what are you talking about? All I want to do is a fill and a cut. And what are you talking about now? It's going to help me. So I was wondering if you would explain kind of what this functionality is, why fill and cut has now changed, and
Okay.
how people can actually use it to get better results in their jobs.
So, okay. So, what you are talking about is sublayers. Sublayers.
That's right.
And actually, I have a video that I just put together on that that's coming out later next week.
Awesome.
I don't know when this is coming out, so it may already be out. I don't know. Sublayers. So where Fill Plus Line went is in the trash, because what we enabled is for people to do up to 11 layers. Now, for me, I would like you to cut in a Spinal Tap reference right now, Gil.
11. It's 11.
That's literally why we made it 11. Because we
awesome.
all just started joking about Spinal Tap in our chat when we were talking about how many sublayers should we enable. So what sublayers does is, in the past, if you needed to do multiple processes on one piece of geometry, say you had a nameplate that was like you were filling in the text or filling in the background behind text, and for whatever reason you needed to run several different fills on that. I've absolutely run into this where like I needed to etch deep to clear off an oxide layer or clear off a coating or something like that, but then I didn't really like the way that looked, so then you come back with a lighter etch or an etch in a different direction. Stamp engraving is another one where like sometimes you get like weird slits, so then you need to come back with a different direction or a different type of fill, like flood fill instead of like a full cross raster fill, to ablate the material completely. So in the past, what you had to do was you had to have the geometry and then duplicate it and then put it onto a separate layer. So say you're working on like the black layer, and then you would need to duplicate it and put that next fill on the blue layer. And if you need to do it again, you need to put the next fill on the red layer. so on and so forth. So then you had like several instances of the geometry, and it got really confusing.
Sure.
What sublayers let you do is have one instance of that and put up to 11 different mode types on it. So you can do fill, you can do offset fill, or you can do line in it. And you can have separate settings for all of those things. The only thing that you cannot do separately are tabs. Tabs are cut layer
Sure.
specific.
Mhm.
So they're not specific to the sub layers. Those will all transfer. But what that lets you do is you can do up to 11 different processes in the same piece of geometry. This is really important for Galvo users because especially when you're doing things like steel or brass, they tend to oxide up as you're etching them when you need to ablate a lot of material, and then you have to go back with what's called cleaning passes to get the proper color that you want. Or if you have a MOPA laser where you can do colors on stainless steel,
Right.
sometimes you need to do multiple processes. So as we were doing that, we decided that fill plus line is out because now we have sublayers. And sublayers give you much more power. You can still do fill plus line. It's just 2 sublayers on that. But now you can do any number of things on that as well. Yeah, that's the biggest thing that we changed. I should note that when you bring in a project that was made prior to Lightburn 1.2, like 1.1.04, and you had a fill plus line layer, what this will do is it will make that fill plus line go away.
Right.
It will now say multi in the mode area. And when you open it up, it will be a fill layer, a fill sublayer, and a line sublayer. This will break back compatibility. So if for some reason you wanted to be able to roll back to 1.1.04,
Right.
That will not work anymore. It will not delete the geometry, but it will delete the second sublayer,
Right.
the line layer. So that's the biggest thing.
That's I mean, again, that when you're doing complex engravings, or you are working with different types of material, again, this is something that is really more aimed at Galvo lasers that need to have cleanup passes because of the material they're using. But again, you just given examples where a diode or CO2 laser operator can actually use those sublayers without having to make multiple kind of layers and then using those individual layers, with different settings to get those results. I've done that myself in the past. So,
Yeah.
it's going to be very interesting to see how people utilize this technology or these multi layers in different ways. And I already see some very creative projects coming out, and then that were always capable in previous versions of Lightburn, but the fact that they're presented now in this way, human brains, man, once it's there, they start thinking about it in completely different ways.
Yeah, I things I've seen people do so far are like really interesting crosshatch patterns,
Sure.
or like wide step over hatches, and then going back through and doing like offset fill to get like really interesting backgrounds in their art. That's been a fun one to see. And then the most common use that I have used this for in the past with my CO2 has always been stamp making, or anything where I needed like a really deep ablation. It would be several different rotating fill passes.
Awesome.
The other thing that we added is the ability to do multiple fills on the same layer, but step through a rotation. So without doing sublayers, if you just do fill, before you were able to do you were able to run that pass multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can do a rotation step. So you can step a specific number of degrees for every fill. So like if you have it set at 45 and you've got it set for 4 passes, it'll like fill this way, and then fill this way, and then fill this way, and then Yeah, that's an awkward
Awesome.
angle.
Yeah.
But you get the point. So that's another one that we added that was added for Galvo, but works really well for CO2 or diode.
Awesome. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing what people, once they understand and start exploring these new options, start coming out with. Just between you and me, how long do you think that it's going to take before people stop asking where Line and Phil have gone? How many weeks or months or years?
It's 4 months.
4 months? We're going to keep an eye on it. I'm going to keep an eye on it. We'll see what happens. If you win, I'll send you the first laser I ever had, which I still have, and I can put it in the mail.
Interesting. All right. Now I kind of want to win. I want to see what this laser is.
I'll bring it on next time. Next time you come visit, I'll show it to you.
Cool.
For me to have this conversation, just on the fact that, you know, I was one of the people watching Makers on Tap and listening to the podcast and seeing some of your projects either on Twitter,
thank you,
or on Instagram, and it you know, I remember seeing an article about you as a maker on Darkly Labs website and going, this guy looks interesting. Like, there's someone else that you can connect with that happens to be interested in lasers and laser technology, and it's making some really cool things. So would you be willing to come back and have a chat with us again?
Absolutely. I'd love to come on and dig into the milk crate CNC that I've been working on.
Absolutely.
And like, yeah, anything. I like talking about making stuff.
Awesome.
So, and I don't do it near enough anymore. So,
well, you've got an open door policy. I'm going to bother the hell out of you and get you in here.
Awesome.
We'll see if we can get Dominic as well. I don't know how we're going to get 3 windows up, but maybe we can.
That'd be so much fun.
I know, because Dominic is a lot of fun, but I might even have to kind of invest in something else so that we can get all 3 of us up. But we'll do that. And thank you so much for the time today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Cool. This was great.
No sound, but now I've got sound. But I was just saying to Daryl, thank you so much, Daryl. Comes straight in, says what's up, throws down a super chat. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you so much. It is awesome. Thank you. And I just wanted to also say, I hope you guys had, or basically got something out of the conversation that I had with Joe. Joe's an incredibly amazing maker in his own right. Guys, we had a ball having a conversation and getting to share our stories. I know that I'm supposed to be the interviewer, but at the time, I'm always super excited to not only share and not only hear the journey of others, but I'm always blown away by the synchronicity of makers' journeys. So much of what Joe was sharing with me was something very similar to the experience that I've had. If you would like to hear that whole conversation, I'm going to actually release that unedited interview in full just right after the end of this live stream. It's all ready to go. So if you definitely check that out, Joe's story is pretty amazing. He had a lot of work before getting to Lightburn in the maker community. He ran his own maker spaces. He also worked for large corporations in America, creating maker spaces. We share all of that, including some of the things that I had gone through. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And my commitment to you guys is that right after this live stream finishes, we're going to make that that whole interview available. If you're interested in just certain areas, you'll also be able to scroll and work out exactly what it is. But that's cool, man. So good. We're going to get Joe back. We're definitely going to Joe back. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Everyone's saying no sound. Daryl as well. Thank you so much, Daryl, for the support. Malcolm saying that I think we're just scratching the surface of what Lightburn can do. I know I do. You know, Malcolm, there's really, as they said in the interview, there's only really one person who knows what all of Lightburn can do. And we've spoken to him as well. we'll have to get him back on it as well. But it is just awesome to be able to speak speak to people who are working behind the scenes on something that we use every day. Some people call me a fanboy. That's cool. I'll wear that. Some people call me a fanatic. I'll wear that too. But when I'm interested in the subject, it's not just about how to use it, but it's also the history and how things came about and came together. And it is so awesome to be able to speak to people like Joe and hear about their kind of thought pattern and their workflow, because you can see that expressed in the software every time you use it. Wow, look who's here. It's Cheeks. How are you, Daryl? It's good to see you, my friend. We were talking about some of your work earlier, so I invite you to go back. We had some questions about your Spider-Man artwork in the Laserologist showcase, and it's just great to see you here too, so it's kind of cool. Stuart also saying that looking forward to it. Joe seems cool. He is a very cool guy. And we'll have to see if we can get Dominic. I don't know if Dominic's still here, but we'll have to see if we can get him involved in a conversation. I think between three kind of excited personalities when it comes to lasers, maybe we'll do that on the 50th. We'll see. No, we'll do it earlier. So it's kind of cool. Malcolm sharing that he learns something new every time he does something with Lightburn. That's one of the things that I absolutely love about the software. I'm also always learning as I use the product, whether or not it's, using the node tools to refine a design, whether I'm tracing something out and then working with different tools to clean up that trace. Maybe it's now with the multi-layers, that is a whole new workflow and a possibility. And as I said to Joe, I'm really looking forward to seeing how people utilize it in different ways. Because while that was put in there for the Galvo laser users, that's now new tools that can be used for both diode and CO2 lasers. So it is amazing. Peter sharing, oh wow, I get it, man. Peter's sharing that he wants to get a fiber laser now. So do I. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position to go and buy my own just yet, but we'll see what happens, because I would love to be able to go and share my unique take on how Lightburn works with fiber lasers. And Malcolm also saying, must also mention the help from the community such as this. That's why we're here, my friend. Mal, that's exactly what's going on. That's why we're a community, because we're helping each other. Cheeks is awesome. Just tune in. That's okay, man. It's really cool to be able to see everyone who's come as the live stream has gone through, and it's always great to see friendly faces here on the stream. Let's move on. Let's go and talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. I got a feeling this is going to be blank. Watch this. It's going to be blank, right? I knew it. So let's go straight to the material we're going to talk about today. And that happens to be the good. I didn't get a chance to do my whistle, but that's okay. And we're going to talk about slate. Slate has become a very, very popular material, especially with people who are working with images and engraving images onto material. Now, slate is one of these really interesting materials because it's considered a binary material when it comes to laser engraving, which means it only engraves in one color. So even if you use multiple passes and different power speeds, you get the same result when it comes to how the laser affects the material. Now, to get the best results, you would want to use your images in a black and white mode only, or use something like a dithered, or even convert your image to a negative to get the result that you want. So think of this as pretty much black and white printing, but on slate. Now, the big question is this safe to use, right? And the truth of the matter is that slate is actually made up of sedimentary rocks and origins. It's mainly composed of quartz. I can't even say that. My eyesight's going. Cerisite. Boy, I really should have checked this before. And other minerals. So when you think about it, when you're actually engraving this material, you are kind of blasting off all these elements into the air. And by engraving this material, as I said, you are removing small amounts. So depending on the amount of work you're doing, make sure that you have an extractor, or you're working in an area with an open airflow, or you're wearing PPE. Because think about it, quartz and some of the other minerals, the smaller they are, you will be inhaling some of that. And it's just something to be aware of. Of course, the more you use slate, the more you may have a percentage of those materials basically being added into the air. But also remember that a lot of slate is kind of a heavy porous rock. It is a natural rock. I don't think it's going to be an issue like a chemical or anything like that. But you know what? If you've ever gone and had like really fine silica powder or anything like that, there is a risk of breathing that in and irritating airways. That to me is probably, if you worked with slate all day and then kind of brushed it up in the air and took a big lungful or something like that, to me that this is a great product to use in the sense that the result is pretty amazing. You can see there's some of the examples there on the right hand side, but just be aware of the material and just common sense in this case. If you are using a laser in an enclosed case such as the Emblazer 2, just make sure that you clean it out and you should be fine. If not, do it outside. Airflow is your friend when it comes to all of that. So there you go, slate. A lot of people using it. I think that it's just be aware of the composition. It is a natural material, which is great, and it is inert, which is even better. You just want to make sure that when you're using your laser and it's removing very, very microscopic particles, that you're just aware that even though you can't see it, there may be a slight risk, just a slight risk. Let's go back and see what's going on in the chat room. Ron saying thanks for everything. I guess Ron's leaving, but you're welcome, Ron. I love being able to be a part of not only this community but helping everyone. That's great. Cheeks saying that I learned Lightburn from Gil. Thank you so much. Cheeks actually did a one-on-one session with me, and it was amazing to be able to clear up some of those bumps in how to get the best out of Lightburn. And you can see some of the results that Cheeks shares with us every time on the live stream. And John's saying, is it best to clear it before doing? Are you saying clear you know what? I'm going to ask you, just give me a little bit more information. I'm just going to assume right now that you're saying clearing it as in brushing off this slate. Is that what you're talking about? Or clearing the laser itself? Either way, I tend to lean on a more safe and cautious route than some other people. So what I try to do is make sure that my laser is always clean, that any particles are removed, because it's just a much safer way of being able to not only get a good result, but also understand that it's safe. So let's see what's going on. Lacquer? Okay, are you talking about lacquering the material before? Actually, I don't think so, personally, because just like with paint, you're actually adding a chemical to the material that you're going to then blast off. And that's what a laser is doing. It's actually kind of eating into the material, and that energy is then having a reaction that is either burning. In the case of slate, I think it's just kind of blasting it off. I would say off the top of my head, probably the lacquering is not going to do too much. But then again, I'm thinking on the fly here, there is some sort of logic to that about the idea of maybe the lacquer binding the areas that you're working on, and that's going to kind of end up aerosolizing a little bit. But see, it's a bit of I'll have to think about that one. You know what? It's a really good question, and I do have to think about it, and I'll tell you why. My thinking process is this. Slate is an inert material. It's natural. It's great in that sense. Yep, there is a slight chance when you're actually you're working on the laser that some of that may become airborne, and if you're walking around in an enclosed area, there is a slight risk. When you lacquer something, you're actually introducing chemicals that's going to react with the surface. Now, the chemicals itself is not going to be the problem, but again, it just depends on what's going on. I'd probably have to, honestly, to give you an honest answer that's not theoretical, is actually take a piece of slate and try it out. And there you go. John's actually sitting there, and he said, I did it and it worked. So great. I mean, it's definitely an option. There's multiple ways to get to certain results that you want, but I wasn't sure whether to try without. So a lot of people do work with slate without actually lacquering it on top. So again, it just comes down to what you feel comfortable about and also your unique setup. If you've got a extractor or you're doing it outside or you've got a filter, I would say have no problem whatsoever. If you're using an open diode laser in a room without airflow, that's where I'd be a little bit more leaning to the cautious area. That's me personally. You've got to be comfortable using the equipment, and I love everyone to be as safe as possible. So that's ultimately everything that we share here has to go through what you feel comfortable doing. But yeah, I know that for me personally, if I didn't have, or if I used one of my diode lasers that's open, I wouldn't be doing it in an enclosed room. I would take it outside, just, you know, and it depends again. If it's only one piece of slate, you probably get away with it without a problem. If I was going to do 20 pieces over a couple of hours, that would be another story altogether. Just use, I guess, common sense. But then again, that's another whole conversation. Guys, I want to thank you so much for being here. We're not finished quite yet. I do want, before we wrap up the show, first of all, I want to thank Joe again for coming on board. I also, if you're watching right now, I want you to go and hit that like button. I want to see, that's a great way of being able to support us. If you enjoyed what we're doing here, hit that like button. That, as I said, that helps YouTube know that you enjoy what's going on and hopefully send it out a little bit further to everyone. If you have any tips and tricks that you know and you want to share with the community, we've done this before. It's been a little bit slow this time around, but please send them to laser.livestream@gmail.com. I am looking at doing a special where we share the tips and tricks from the community. It is an awesome way of being able to help and support the community. Just like Cheeks had done in the past, he reached out and wanted to do a one-on-one with me about Lightburn. If you're interested in doing the same thing, we have virtual classes and one-on-one tuition. Those sessions are now open. Again, reach out and send me an email at laser.livestream@gmail.com. If Cheeks is still around, you tell them in the chat room, my friend, right here, whether or not it was a worthwhile, if it was worthwhile or not. So it's kind of cool. The technician came in right here. The technician came and said, oh, I missed the stream. That's okay. You're going to be able to check it out on the replay, the technician. But you know what? It is great to see you. Absolutely fantastic to see you here. Hopefully you'll be able to come in a little earlier and we'll be able to have a chat. I believe the technician is a brand new laserologist, so I want to go and get to meet him and hear a little bit about the work that he's done. If you want technician, go over to Facebook and post up your last laser project so we get to know you a little bit better. So it's kind of cool. And I also want to thank Darkly Labs, the home of the Emblazer range, as well as Lightburn Software for helping sponsor and create this live stream. I have a blast doing this all the time. And oh, wow, there you go. Cheek says, worth every cent. Book a one-on-one with Gil today. Thank you so much. There you go. You didn't hear it from me. You heard it from someone who had some experience with me. And of course, if you want that, if you want some one-on-one help, I'm more than happy to do that. Guys, I want to thank you so much. I'm going to go and make the full interview with Joe live in the next 30 seconds or so once this finishes. Thank you so much. Guys, it's always awesome to be able to come and do these live streams. And I know I've been talking for quite some time about some of the changes to the stream. We've been working really hard. Some of the people in the chat room know what's planned. Let me know if you want a little bit more in a different... actually, you know what? That's too cryptic. So I'll tell you what. Next live stream, we're going to talk about where we're going to go in the future and open up some of the options to everyone. It is great to see you. Go make something amazing. I think I almost let the cat out of the bag. I shouldn't have done that. Gil. Guys, looking forward to seeing the amazing projects you're going to make. And I will see you here in 2 weeks' time. I can't believe it. It seemed like it was only yesterday. And I will. I'm looking forward to seeing your projects. Go make something amazing. Oh my gosh. Where's the end button? I don't know. I don't want it to end. Catch you guys soon. Thank you so much.